something I do genuinely believe is that like no matter what level you are, you never know everything. And I think some people,
Mm.
may want to act like they know everything because they're a staff engineer at Google or something like that. But even with that, I like there's likely something an associate engineer may not be even be tech related knows that you don't
Mm.
know. And so I think
Mm.
approaching life with that type of humility about what I can learn from the next person, even if I feel like I'm an expert in my own right, really
Mm.
makes things more well rounded. And then also creates more psychological safety in the teams that you're in.
Taylor Poindexter, thank you so much for coming to this Integration Love Story podcast. We're very thankful.
Yes, thank you for joining us
Mm.
today, and we are really glad that you could make it and give us the time today. We have
Mm.
been trying for a while now, but like now we made it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. We've had a good conversation pre-episode. I'm excited to dig in with you guys.
All right, all right. And I mean, what we did say before this, we actually started. I mean, our first question is always, could you please just introduce yourself to our listeners and the ones watching?
Absolutely. So my name is Taylor Poindexter. I'm based out of the Washington, D.C. area. I got a computer science degree from the University of Virginia many moons ago. Started out in consulting. Let consulting rob my soul for a little bit, but it was great because I got to try a lot of different tech to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I went into a startup for a little bit, had a good time with some really good people. And now I'm at Spotify. I've been here now for officially 4 years, and I'm officially an engineering manager and have moved away from being an IC as of right now.
You had, yeah. I mean, how long ago was it that you said moons ago? How many moons ago was it?
I think 13 moons ago.
13 moons ago. Okay, okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, we of course we got the introduction of your IT background, but who is Taylor Poindexter outside of
Ooh.
IT?
The weekend
Oh,
one.
That,
Yeah.
oh, the weekend. All right. Well, she's a fun one. Let me tell you. Probably the one most of my friends love about me the most is I'm a whiskey connoisseur, self-pronounced, but I have a very extensive whiskey collection. I like digging into the science of whiskey and doing whiskey tastings with my friends in my home. And something my husband and I have started this past year is we host like dinner parties, like very intimate dinner parties with just like 4 or 6 people. We both like to cook as well, have some of our favorite people over, have some good whiskey and just good conversation over the night. Um, Also, really love working out. I really love traveling. I'm from a very small town in Virginia, and so I'm a country girl at heart, but I really like seeing the world, which is interesting because a lot of people in my hometown, like a lot of them have never left the state of Virginia, or like I won't say a lot of them, but like some of them have never left, literally. And so that has its downsides, but yeah, so traveler, workout lady, whiskey lady, and yeah, I just love the people in my life a lot.
What's your favorite whiskey?
It depends on my mood. So,
all right.
Oh, that's a new answer.
yeah, because like where some people are like, oh, I only like bourbon or I only like scotch or I only like Irish whiskey. I actually have at least one bottle in every category that I really like. If I just wanted like a nice pour on a weekday, I'd probably go with Oban 18. That one is one that I really like. Or like Glenmorangie 8 or Signet, excuse me, Glenmorangie Signet is another one that I really like in a bottle that I keep in the house a lot of times.
So I mean, I'm a whiskey fan, but I'm obviously not a whiskey connoisseur. But I would love to go to Scotland to actually visit
Yes.
around. Have you been to Scotland?
Not yet. We want to do it. We want to
Yeah.
do it. I think it'd be great. I've heard great things.
Yeah, take the whiskey. I mean, of course, you have whiskey in the United States as well, but I mean, I just visit all those castles and
Yeah, I always people who I think that people who like whiskey are a certain type of personalities. It's like not the wine people.
Okay.
They don't do that. It's not the like.
Please tell me about the difference because
What kind of people are we?
No, but I like this time because it's more chill. It's more about having chilling down and having conversation and like it has a smooth like wine. You have to be in a really certain way. You have to hold the glass, and it's too much details around it. But the whiskey is just like, let's just sit and have this glass. And
I was one time in north of Sweden where they have a whiskey, how do you say it, distillery, and and there was like 10 people, and there was one guy who was really I'm not gonna say it, he was a hard time. So if we would go in a whiskey tour with you, and I would be an amateur, how much would you take over this tour?
What do you mean, like, I'm going to tell you about it, even though it's this person's job? No, I try to shut up. I try to be very quiet. I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, and this and that. Like, this isn't my tour. I hate those people. Just drink your whiskey, be quiet.
Okay, enjoy the tour.
Yeah, exactly. You should Gothenburg maybe like sometimes in April any year, where we have like one big conference about whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That you go and taste. Like it's a big conference that you have a lot of stands from all the production companies or all those, and then you go around and taste and talk to other people who also like that, and it's really big.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Like I think maybe 600.
Yeah, it's
a day.
I've never been, but I would love to go actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I have been there. It's a lot of people and a lot of things too.
Yeah.
Got to try all the whiskeys.
Beer and whiskey mistam.
Yeah.
It's not the whiskey and wine.
Yeah.
So like just to...
I know what you were. Okay, all right.
Yeah, great.
Well, I mean, we got your name from Scott Hanselman, of course, and he mentioned that you were both keynote speakers at Strange Loop in 2023. Maybe you did something else after that, I don't know. But he sent 2 questions that he wanted us to ask you, and he said, "How did you start with IT and your first computer?"
Ooh, I'm not surprised you asked that last question. So for me. For how I got started, so when I went to college, again, because I'm from a small town, I had never even thought about or heard about being a software engineer at that time. So I was always academically driven. So I always thought I was going to be like a doctor or like some business lady in New York in a suit with like a glass office. And so when I started college, I kind of like started down those paths, trying to figure out which one it would be. And then in my 3rd year, a family friend was like, you should actually try to take a computer science class. It's actually my brother's friend. My brother's 10 years older than me. And I was like, that's not really for people like me. I don't really think that's really where I want to be. Like, no. He was like, just take one class. Just take one class. If you hate it, you never have to do it again. And so I begrudgingly did it. And to my surprise, I really liked it. I was really, really bad at it because like everybody in my class, they had, or many of them had been like programming since they were, 10 years old, 12 years old. Their parents were software engineers, or at least one of them were. And so I was starting from ground zero. And so a lot of people would be frustrated in class when I would ask questions because they were things that they already knew, but I was truly a beginner. And so I fell in love with it my 3rd year. I changed my major to computer science and took winter classes and summer classes to be able to still graduate on time, and was lucky enough to be able to land a consulting job that I was able to still kind of continue on that path. So that's how we got here.
That's cool.
And the first computer, maybe you mentioned it, sorry.
Oh, no, you get first computer. I think I was 6, and my mom got it for me for Christmas. And so I remember it being this like big secret again, because my brother's 10 years older than me.
Really good gift.
Yeah, really great gift. Yeah, like go mom.
Well done.
but I remember being so upset before I realized what it was because probably about a week before Christmas, I wasn't allowed to go into the guest room anymore. So I'm like, but my brother was in there all the time. So I'm like, man, what the heck's going on? Like everybody's a big secret. So I felt like super left out and I didn't know what was going on. But it was my big brother setting up the computer for me so that on Christmas, I could go in there and see the new computer.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
And how much time, how much hours of the day did you spend by the computer at that moment? And what's the difference now?
Big difference. I actually didn't spend that much time on it when I was younger. Like I did do like my homework on it. Again, from a small town, so we had dial-up, very slow internet at the time. Like it was not fast at all. So I didn't spend a ton of time on it, but world of different now because like even now I have two laptops on my desk as we speak. So I spend majority of my my day on it, and even after work I'm on some type of device.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I can really recognize the story that you had because I started, of course, I started like an IT program at the university, but I was still like, I was definitely not the person who had been programming for a lot, and I could see the big difference between me and other people in the class, and I was telling, okay, I'm never going to be best at this,
Yeah.
but I mean, and then you figure out that you don't need to be the best. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So what's your, I mean, what happened to you when you actually started like, okay, I really like this, and then when did something change in your mind? I'm going to pursue this career.
So like for me, it was like the whole loop of feeling like, man, I'm never gonna figure this out, and then I figure it out, and then I feel like queen of the world,
Mm.
and then coupled with the fact I found a computer science partner, and so it's gonna make me look like a big meathead. But so in my classes, I was often, I was often the only woman,
Mm.
and so I had just worked out, and I went to a computer science lecture. And so I
Mm.
had this tank top on, and then this guy walks in. This big, he was Miles is probably like 6'3" or something like that, but he's in a tank top. I could tell he just finished working out. He's at
Mm.
the front of the class trying to find a seat, and then he
Mm.
sees me, and we lock eyes. And we're kind of like, and he sits next to me, and that just becomes my partner. And he started a bit late too, because he was a philosophy major, and so like we kind of went through the whole process together, and that made it a lot more bearable to be able to have like a partner to be able to
Mm.
bounce ideas off that wasn't judgmental about it.
Mm. Mm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you like, because now I want to just to recall something that you said as an answer from the first question that we asked here, that you said that you had this and you also wanted to fight. Now you are saying that you have been fighting for this, like to learn and all of this. And from that fight, and then you say that finally I gave up the IC and then I'm going now to be a manager, because that's different job
Yeah.
with different responsibilities, I guess. So were you saying finally, or like that's you, that was another person and now you are like, it's,
Mm.
It's
do you
kind of like
understand?
I think so. So it's kind of like my experiences. So I did want to conquer it to be able to feel like, okay, this is now a topic that I know. And so I felt like I got to the point where obviously like I got to senior software engineer. I felt really accomplished with that. But then kind of similar to Robin, like there were people around me that like love software engineering. I mean, like they spend their weekends on it. They dig deep, 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 deep. They know the documentation. And so like I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's never gonna be me. And like like I'm getting my tickets done. They're done well. So like that's kind of where I'm at. And then couple that with the fact that when I first graduated from college, my first job, I had an awful manager. I mean, an absolutely awful manager. And I actually almost like he wanted me to shift from being a software engineer to being a business analyst. And so
Mm.
I almost did it until another manager at the job like convinced me to stick with it. And I saw it through. But I was feeling so discouraged when I finally left that job after being there for 4 years. The
Mm.
startup that I went to, I was thinking that like, all right, let's see how this goes. If like this doesn't go well, I'm just going to become some other career and it'll be fine. But
Mm.
I happened to join a team of some of the most amazing engineers. Not only were they the ones reading the documentation and explaining it to me 20 layers deep,
Mm.
but they were they were very kind and very supportive. And
Mm.
so that startup, as many do, went through a lot of changes. One of them
Mm.
was acquisition, layoffs, a lot of craziness. And so through that, my manager had like 40 direct reports and he couldn't manage them all. And
Mm.
so I had been kind of like a tech lead at my first job at one point. So he asked me, did I want to take a subset of them? And
Mm.
so once that happened, and then once I realized I was ready to leave that company, because I was burnt out working from my condo during COVID at a startup, just
Mm.
wasn't as fun as being in the office with all the beer and all the partying and stuff like that. And so I took an 8 month sabbatical. But then once I took that time off, like 8 months of vacation, and just reflected on what really poured into my soul, it actually was helping to build an environment where people felt psychologically safe and supported. And I could still be in the tech, I could still do that type of thing, but making room for the people who want to go 20 layers deep and dig into the documentation and know every single bit of tech they can soak up. I realized that is what really brought me pleasure. So I could be close enough to the tech, maybe do a ticket here or two, but then focus on what I really care about.
Yeah, that's
It's I mean, I have so many questions, and it's such an interesting story. But what would you say was your like what's your superpower here? How could you like stick to?
Ooh.
I mean, yeah.
I would say for me, my superpower as a leader, right?
Yeah. Well, I
but-
mean, going through your career, I mean,
As a person,
a lot of stuff happened, and you still like, I don't know, fought it, and yeah.
Yeah, it's probably, this is part of my personality, is who I am. I can always find the positive out of almost any situation.
Yeah.
So like, for better or for worse, like terrible things could have happened. I'm like, oh, but like that one good spec right there, that's pretty cool, right? And then try to focus on that until we can hopefully turn that spec into something bigger. But then as like a leader, I think that like, or just even like a teammate, maybe not even like a leader, as part of a team, I do a really good job of like connecting people and helping people find their happy place. And I feel like that makes really, really awesome teams.
I mean, you mentioned psychological safety as a key. I mean, and yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's an amazing ability. I don't have that ability. I wish that I can have this ability, and I wonder how to gain that. You cannot gain that, or can you? Can I just work on that? Nah.
That's a good question. I think so, but I will say I feel like you almost have to have a deep care about it, because even like with these things being something that I deeply care about, sometimes with like people are so complex. And so everybody needs something a little different. And sometimes I realize with that, like being the thing that I spend my time on as an engineering manager, it can be really exhausting. It can be very fulfilling, but also very exhausting, because humans are complex as crap.
Yeah. What's more complex, computers or people? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like when they were like this is really, it's not only us saying that. We have been we have a colleague here that wrote also an article the other day. It's like people are complaining that AI is non-deterministic, but have you met people?
Precisely.
Speaking about career shift, we have been watching a nice video yesterday, or like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was a keynote from 2023.
Strange Loop.
Yes.
Oh, has it been almost 3 years already? Or 2 years has it changed?
2 years already.
Don't mention the years. Don't mention the years.
Okay.
But it was a really nice note, and you talked about meaningful career.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about careers and making shifts and everything, but I mean, has your view on a meaningful career changed, or is it still the same?
No, still the same. I will say something I haven't been doing as good of a job at, which I did mention in that talk, is like sometimes just pausing for a second and like checking in on seeing what actually does fill my cup. Just life being kind of chaotic sometimes, and then work, it's very easy to kind of get into that flow of things like, oh, I just got to make it through the day. I just got to make it through the week, and kind of going with it. And that's okay too. But something I've been trying to do at the close of the year is like really sit with myself and think like, all right, well, what do you want things to look like for the next year, 3 years, 5 years, and making sure that aligns with what's bringing me the most joy again.
So how do you do that? I mean, what's your plan for that?
I almost still have like.
I'm sorry, because I need the recipe.
No, you're fine. Honestly, it's not going to sound like super like cool or anything like that. What I do is I try to stay really present in my day-to-day work, and I take notes like kind of off to the side, like things that I'm like, oh, that really made me feel charged up or excited. Or either like, ooh, didn't love doing that. And I'm not saying every day at work you're going to only be able to do the stuff which you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. But like, what can I do to put myself in a position where I'm mostly doing things that do energize me? And then once I come up with that list, like, okay, well, what career moves could I make to get closer to that if I'm not already in it?
Yes, but this talk I have, I know that we don't have like we would need another talk for about this talk because because it's like there's too many. I like how you like put it out there that why did you choose specific job and how do you choose them, and like sometimes you just need to be honest about it also and say like I'm doing that for the money but still like some passion in it, and like this reality check in a keynote it's really unique. I didn't see that before, and it's really amazing talk. I recommend everyone who listen to us and to actually go and check that out. It's called Strange Loop.
Thank you.
One question I mean that you talked about with Scott in that, I mean, was like, what is a senior developer or a manager? I mean, the word senior and the word expert you talked about a bit, and what's your take on those words?
I honestly,
sorry to think.
No, it's okay. I do feel like those words, especially like senior, like definitely depends on what company you're at. Like something that people get hung up a lot of times in conversations with me, it's like, oh, like I was a senior engineer at this company. Like, why doesn't Amazon or Spotify want to hire me as like a senior as well? So I do feel like each company kind of has their own definition of what a senior is, and like certain companies have like different standards, and it's a difference between being a senior engineer at maybe like a 10-person startup versus being a senior engineer at 15,000 person startup and the things that come with that. So I feel like it can vary.
Because I mean, what I took from that talk actually was like continuously learning stuff and try to make sure that you're humble about what you know and what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, talking to you like for 20 minutes now, it feels like you're being on a pursuit on like, I'm going to chase the next thing and be, I don't know, just be humble about what you can learn in the next phase.
And I also think to that point, it's been a while since I've done that keynote, so sorry about that. I can't remember the exact notes we made or comments we made, but to that point, something I do genuinely believe is that like no matter what level you are, you never know everything. And I think some people, may want to act like they know everything because they're a staff engineer at Google or something like that. But even with that, there's likely something an associate engineer, may not even be tech related, knows that you don't know. And so I think approaching life with that type of humility about what I can learn from the next person, even if I feel like I'm an expert in my own right, really makes things more well-rounded, and then also creates more psychological safety in the teams that you're in. Because I love when I see, actually I sent a staff engineer like a note of appreciation, I think like 2 weeks ago, because I had never interacted with this guy, but we needed to talk because his team did what I needed for a launch that we're preparing for. And some staff engineers can be a bit off-putting at times and kind of like not really as engaging. But I was impressed with him because not only was he helpful, but there were so many times throughout the conversation where he said, you know what, I actually don't know. I'm not sure about that. Let me dig into it. Or he would engage in a conversation, asking questions, and it made it so people who were seniors, Eng 2s, Eng 1s, they felt comfortable to also say, you know what, I don't know, but let's figure it out together. And it was just such a beautiful thing to witness. And so I just had to drop him a message to let him know how much I appreciate that type of values.
Yeah. And I guess just thinking that you should actually message him and say thank you for that. I mean, that's a leadership skill right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I won't send him a message. Thank you for that attitude also, because he's also creating some other people.
But I mean, we're working with IT, and I think that as you say, I mean, sometimes you feel like that a very like a senior person or a very experienced person can be like, I mean, you could be intimidated by approaching such a person and saying like, I don't know because I need your help. And then it's very, I mean, in this world with everything that's coming in, AI and everything, I mean, how can you know everything?
You can't.
Just impossible.
Yeah.
Just in the beginning of the same year that we are in now, we didn't even know that there is something called MCP, and now you're talking about it like it was there forever, and that's a thing. Why you don't know about that? I've been living in a cave.
It's so
But
funny you say that, because I was at a conference and somebody brought up MCP and I was like, and like pulled my phone out on the side and I'm like, what is this? And it's like, oh, okay.
But I mean, if we were to give an advice, or if you were to give an advice to a person that will actually start their IT career at the moment, as I mean, as we all have done, I mean, what should you focus on now? What can we say to those persons that are actually starting their career at this moment with AI and everything coming?
One, and this is even before AI, I'm a big believer in people who are starting out their careers finding a place that has psychological safety, because like when you're starting out, there's going to be so much you don't know. And so if you start your career in a place where people are telling you you shouldn't be asking questions, or they discourage you from asking questions, it's really going to slow your ability to learn along the way. And part two, I've actually seen the more junior people actually be more willing to adopt artificial intelligence. And so I would say like lean into that, but as you lean into that, make sure you're understanding what you're actually doing. Like I see some people like, they're prompting it, is spitting out code, and they're kind of doing a quick glance over. Do you genuinely understand what's going on? And if you don't, don't just accept the code blindly. Maybe ask questions. Of the artificial intelligence, or maybe another senior engineer or other engineer on your team, to make sure that you're just not blindly pushing code, because I do believe you could create a gnarly incident or those types of things. So those two.
I want to ask you, like, because this is really something I want to understand more how the world see that, because some people around me, like, they just want to distance themselves, their work, from AI as much as possible. They don't really put it out there. This is done by AI. It's really there is some kind of a shame built out there somehow. I don't know why, because it's you who did that. It's not the AI. It's you. And even the documents, you as a manager now on Spotify, would you, like, if like you say that I want like some reporting or whatever, like to understand this solution or this new launch, whatever you have there, and you got a document that's AI generated. When I say AI generated, there is someone still generated something in the context that you wanted for you. Would you still accept that, or you would judge in that sense, like how, from your own perspective?
It's hard to, because I feel like it's like a nuanced thing. So it's like, I want to know that you thought about this on your own too. Like, I don't want you to just like take what ChatGPT generated and plop it into a doc and go through it. I like when people kind of use it as a tool, like the tool that it is. So even with code generation, like the thing I like about the way most senior engineers do it, they don't just give it this large prompt and have it run. They do it step by step as if they were doing it themselves, and check it along the way. And kind of similar with docs. The ones that I like the most is because sometimes you can tell when the doc is generated without much personality or anything like that. So I prefer it when somebody even writes like an outline of a loose outline of what they want, and then they just have it come in and kind of clean it up, maybe point out some things that they missed in their doc to enhance it, and not just generate 100% of it without much thought going into the prompt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you can say, but how do you work with with AI as an engineering manager at Spotify? I mean, how are you adopting, and how are you staying on top of these topics? And
for me myself, honestly, the biggest way it's helped me, I would say two ways. So Spotify is big, and there's a lot of times when somebody may drop a team name, I have no idea what this team does. And so we have an internal tool that you can like ask it and like dig in instead of me having to go around and try to figure it out. So that's really helpful. But then two, like I just changed teams about 3-4 months ago. And so naturally, as soon as I got over there, we had a very tight deadline. And so I'm having to get up to speed very fast. And I didn't have the time to dig through the code bases myself to get up to speed. And so I just used Claude. and asked it a bunch of pointed questions to help me understand the repos and kind of dig in and kind of use the tools that the tickets that the engineers were implementing to think about, like, okay, this is how I would do it. I think this is where I would need to update it if I were to do something like that. And it really did help me get up to speed more quickly without having to even pull in any of the engineers to do it. So I think those breakdowns of repos are really, really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, then you can also, as a how do you say, as a junior or whatever. I mean, if you're new to the team or junior in a career perspective, or just you don't know, and then they can help you actually take this leap much quicker.
And it's really, I can actually understand now, because when you have your system in Spotify, which is like kind of unique for Spotify, the squads and the tribes and all of this, I think I know about it, but I don't really know about it because I never been experiencing it. But I guess it's a lot of like, you need to keep up with a lot of things to actually understand this system and what each tribe or which squad do.
Yeah, and how they like integrate, especially because like we like to name our squads fun things. And I mean, even like I like the fun names, but then it's not immediately obvious. Like, what does disco do? You know, what does MTV do? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not usually related to what they do.
Yeah.
But like you have a big like a long background from all of those system and software engineering. We this podcast called Integration Love Story. So it's about we usually have this question to our guests to ask them, what's your integration? Because usually we interview a lot of people with integration background, but I guess that you have some integration background somewhere. You have been doing some integration tasks, I guess.
True. We're consolidating tech stacks right now as we speak. So probably. I don't know if that counts or not. Either integrating teams or integrating some of our tech to consolidate things down. Those are the first two that come to mind.
Yeah, but I mean, we covered it in the beginning, and we're going closer to the last question, and just Taylor, do you have a memory where you actually like fell in love with IT or fell in love with your work or
Oh, that is a really good question. I honestly feel like it happened in college. Like during those projects, like I really did enjoy myself. And so I guess I'm not saying at that point I fell in love with the career because I hadn't started the career yet. I was still learning. But I did really enjoy being able to tackle such tough problems with like my classmates. And they were tough and everything like that, but I did really enjoy that. And then with my career, I felt like I fell in love with my career when I felt like I found like a place that I could work, have my psychological safety, make good money, and learn. I feel like that trifecta, which started at my last job and continues into Spotify, is something that are two things that I'm going to always try to make sure is part of my career. I feel like those things have genuinely made me fall in love with the career that I have. And I know that I'm lucky because a lot of people are like, you actually like your job? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, it's a bit hard to also explain to people how what we do. Yeah, you work with IT because once you start to explain what you actually do, they zoom out and they start like suddenly everything around you is more interesting
but it's helpful if you work with Spotify. Then you can just like, it's Spotify, so I guess you know.
Yeah, maybe you hear the more wow, but we are like.
So Taylor, like the last question here is that we did it. I mean, we met you with this question because we asked Scott, who should we talk to, and we're directing the same question to you. So, do you have anyone that you feel like that we should talk to in this podcast? And if you do you have a challenging question that we should ask this person?
If I had to pick a person, I would say Shonda Persons. She's a engineer at Netflix. She's amazing. What questions I would want to ask her? One, if she could change anything about her career, what would she change? And two, what has been her favorite piece of tech in her life? It could be like software engineering tech or maybe even something outside of work. Yeah.
Cool.
That's
a good question.
Yeah, we hope that she will wants to join and have this conversation with us as well.
I
And
think she will.
Taylor, I mean, it's been wonderful. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking your time and talking to us.
Absolutely,
And
anytime.
really nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving
Likewise.
us time.
If you guys are ever
Okay.
in DC, let me know and I'll take you out for some whiskey.
Oh, definitely. And if
Definitely.
you're in Sweden, we'll
Yeah, please try to look up Gothenburg. We will be waiting for you.
Okay, I'll be there.